Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you the full painting process, and the style for today's painting is oil painting. As always, for specific painting style, the brush choice is really important. So let's see which brushes we are going to use. The most important brush for this process is oil soft, then the chalk brush, and finally the rough oil brush. These are the three brushes that I have used the most. Also, for the line art, I have used deep pen hard. The key behind the oil painting effect is the texture of the brush. I have turned on texture pattern canvas for each of these brushes. If you don't know about this texture related information, you can check out the brush customization series where I have explained everything in detail. Let's get started with the painting. First, I'm going to start by painting the background with random desaturated colors. The secret behind creating digital oil portraits that look similar to traditional ones is painting everything in single layer. Yes, I know it sounds pretty scary, but that's how it should be if you are actually painting on a traditional canvas. So in that way, your brain will be forced to think how to fix a problem without just removing a layer within a second. That will make it look more organic rather than the usual computerized look. It's a fact that we can't 100% replicate the traditional style on IbisPaint X, but we can get a similar result to some extent. Like I just said, I'm going to paint everything in same layer. So right now I'm going to start painting the skin over the background. I'm sure you can see the canvas texture going on. This happened because of our texture pattern. So it's really important. Do not forget it. Now that we more or less know the basics, let's move on to the actual process video. Feel free to decrease the speed if you are having difficulties in following. The painting process is more or less similar to my usual painting style. Just the little difference here is, instead of blending everything super smoothly, I'm going to leave out some areas to emphasize on the brush strokes. And as we are painting everything in the same layer, we are going to blend some of the edges of the portrait with the background to give it a more artistic look. Most of the painting was done by soft oil brush. The areas that I wanted to keep the harsh brush strokes, I used the rough oil brush. And the places I wanted to do some mark making, I used the chalk brush. I did these mark makings specifically for highlighted areas and for some of the edges. When you try out this method for the first time, your art might not look that satisfactory, but push through it. Push through the ugly stage. I'm sure you will be able to see it's getting better when you keep trying and pushing yourself. Unless you really badly need the rough sketch or the line art layer, just hide it and try to paint loosely. Sometimes line art or sketch layers can limit us, but if we don't have that, you can just draw with your natural flow. This piece took me around 10 hours. and most of my time was spent on the folds and the creases of her dress, and of course, her hat. The dress had relatively more folds because of the frills, and honestly, at some point, I was actually getting frustrated. But when the result happened, all the frustration was gone. It's really rewarding. Sometimes keeping motivated yourself throughout the entire process can be really difficult. But that's the point. You need to keep yourself motivated. If you need a break, take it, but don't give up. Keep on trying, keep on going, and I'm sure you will get your desired results. Now, you enjoy the process, and I'll get back to you with another tip. I told you I will get back to you for a tip, so here I am. Now I'm going to show you the technique of blending the background with the subject. You just have to change the brush type to water and make sure that the wetness percentage is increased to 100%. Then you simply either color pick from the background or from the subject and blend them together. Let me show you how. I'm sure you can see how it's working. Similarly, all these blended parts have been created by the same technique. Now that we know the trick, let's get back to the actual process once again. Rest of the process is more or less me fixing the folds of the dress, gloves and the hat. And of course also fixing some of the general errors. And finally, we have reached the end of the painting process. But I still have one essential tip to share. I know that I already used the canvas texture for the paintbrush, but to make it even more prominent, I'm going to use an overall texture pattern. To do that, we are simply going to choose the texture pattern of a cloth from online gallery. Then you have to resize the pattern to an acceptable point, and 80% of your work is done. Now what is left is to change the blending mode. Here I have changed it to soft light. You can use other blending modes as well, but I love how it looks in soft light mode, so I have used it. If it's looking too dark, you can change the color of the pattern to something lighter. Before ending the video, let me give you a close-up look of how the brush strokes looks like. I'm sure you can see there's a hint of traditional feeling to it. with practice you can achieve that as well, or maybe get even better results than myself. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and learned about oil painting techniques on IbisPaint X. I generally don't say this, but I would really appreciate if you consider subscribing my channel to see many more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care.